guys, welcome to this week's issue of my Warhammer Conquest review, issue 27, and we're reviewing on episode 27. As I say, almost like there's a correlation. This week we have the Rhino. Kind of looks like almost all of it. There's so much in here that I'm really wondering why they needed to split the split the dreadnought up if they could fit this much in one. It's not all of it, is it? Certainly, it's the vast bulk of it. Now you can see again, plastic's slightly more brittle than we're used to. This week getting put in the competition next week, so whoever wins this one next week, I'd be really interested to see how well this goes together. The big box rhinos, and when I say big box, I mean they're like a big box, and some of the other larger models are renowned for not quite going together perfectly, and you're having to sort of bend and trim and tighten the plastic. With plastic that's not quite as flexible, I'd be interested to see how it works. I mean, you can really see the difference in the plastic there, where you've got all that weird little shading there. But frankly, other than that, it looks really quite good actually. Let's see what's missing. Yeah, it looks like you've got the majority of the body and the hatches and that on this one. So on these two sprues. So the majority of the body and the main, you got a main hatch there and a main hatch there. Floor there. You got the internal door with the display and the bolter there. Your headlights, and here you have the tracks and the main body of the Rhino. This bit here is actually useless. It is the bit you need if you're using a Razorback. I don't even think Chaos get Razorbacks, but you could, it is also the bit if you've got a Predator, that's the bit the turret goes on. So if you've got this and some spare bits, you could easily convert it into a sponsorless Predator. But the bits that are missing, and I'm just going to hold the Rhino up there, you've got the hatches there with the weapons on, and you've got the spikes there. So, sorry, a bit twitchy today. You've also got the Nurgle symbol and the little side grenade launchers. That looks like that's what's to come next week. I'm not using the back page, I'm using the front page. It's a beautiful picture there. Yeah, so you're missing basically the optional extras that come with the Rhino. So here you have a perfectly good Rhino, either Imperial or Chaos. Not much cop for what we've got so far with this, because you can't fit Primaris in a Rhino. They're just too damn big. But again, we'll see what happens next week. Again, beautiful cover art there. You got some basis on the Rhino transports in general, how cool they are, where they've come from, and what you've got. You've got an armor rating of 5 and a speed of 6. I don't know what that means. What was about that? Yeah, firepower 3. That's not entirely how it works, so it'll be interesting to see what the rules are with the Rhinos. Are the rules in this one? That seems some sort of arbitrary vehicle judgment system. It's going over Rhino markings and heraldry. Worth noting, these are all markings and heraldry for the Ultramarines chapter, not the Death Guard, which is whom this Rhino is going to belong to. You got the Rhino chassis, and it shows you what you can add there. You can see that a couple of the options there are options that use that spare hatchway that I told you about, which you probably won't be using this one. You've got the Vindicator, which is basically anti-siege weapon, the Whirlwind, which is long-range rockets, the Stalker and the Hunter, which are both anti-aircraft weapons, and the Predator, which is the mainstay battle tank. of the Space Marines. Worth noting, in the original design process, the mainstay battle tank of the Space Marines was supposed to be the Lehman Russ. And I'm not talking in the fluff, I'm talking in actual, in real world terms. But they decided they wanted to give the bigger tank to the Imperial Guard to give the Imperial Guard a bit more draw power. Space Marines were selling fine, but the Imperial Guard was supposed to be this massive overrolling army, so it made more sense to give the Lehman Russ to them because they were far more likely to use bigger tanks because they had smaller people. In case you've ever wondered why the original Lehman Russ and the Land Raider, particularly the earlier versions of it, look more similar in design than the Land Raider does to these, and in case you've wondered why particularly the original Rhinos were a bit tiny to get that many Space Marine in, that's because the original Rhinos, Predators, and the other Rhino chassis stuff was all intended originally, I've said that about 15 times so far, but it was all intended when designed to be part of the Imperial Guard. It's worth remembering, when designed, the Imperial Guard were literally just cut price Space Marines. They didn't have the armour, they didn't have the weapons, they were really cheap. They came in 10-man squads exactly the same, tactical squads exactly the same. They even had jump packs and jet bikes exactly the same as Space Marines. When GW first started, it was very... they came in with one concept and kind of cookie cutter it a lot. This was actually quite a great idea. I mean, the Space Marines coming in the pack of 30 that they originally came in, the whole concept was you had one set of 30 which were either Chaos Space Marines or normal Space Marines, and then there were whichever chapter you wanted, so that GW didn't have to make a vast range of models. It really saved them a lot of money to begin with. And then when they started building Imperial Guard, it really came off as the same concept and the same idea. Again, you know, when Orcs first started coming out, they came in like very similar things. It's only over time that they've developed into very new and unique things, working in very new and unique ways. It's one of the wonders of working for GW. Everything's had 20, 30, 40 odd years, however long they've been around, to develop. So it started off fairly simple, and now it's got very unique, very complex things. Chaos Space Marines are no longer just Space Marines with spikes on and things like that. Everything has its own unique model, unique codexes with unique methods of fighting, and right down to the unit organisation, which is really cool. It's worth noting that as other model companies come out, they are using similar tactics to GW originally, which is... I don't know what that was. Which is to allow, which is to have sort of one sort of core idea and then expand it, and it is worth keeping an eye on them. And if the game's any good, keeping with the game for a while, keeping them going, just to see how they develop. Because worst case scenario, you had a few fun games and you've got a couple of odd cool models. Here we've got a nice bit on the Death Guard Rhino, looking nice and pale there. And here we go. Yeah, war bands and variants. Yeah, going on about war bands and vectorums, which is your sort of various sort of groups of that. You've got a couple of different Rhino designs there. You got the Chronicles of Death Guard there, running through some cool stories here. Yeah. M41, the Infection, the Siege of Vrax, the Hive of Horrors, Curdled Faith, loads of various things that have happened throughout the history of the Death Guard. In the same way that the Ultramarines have their cool Roll of Honour, the Death Guard have their Chronicle of Virulence, coming down there, which is cool. And again, in line with what they've previously been doing, we've got another Ultramarines Space Marine chapter here. We've got the Angels of Vengeance, or the Dark Angels as they're known. Got a nice story there based on the Dark Angels. And then what else? Yeah, a nice story about a Dark Angel Rhino with some pictures and some stuff to give you inspiration. As always with this set, if not with all GW art, you've got some fantastic and beautiful art there. Yep, and to the next bit, as we expect, how to build a rhino. Or rather, how to build a Death Guard rhino. Which I should imagine is much the same as any rhino. Clippers and glue safety so that we don't lose arms. And here's all the symbols that let you know what they mean and what to do. It's worth noting, this is one of the first... I don't think we've had anything else. I don't think we've had anything else with that. This is one of the first ones where you've got a do not glue symbol. Some of the bits in the rhino, such as the back hatch, don't need to be glued. They'll be held in place. I tend to glue them just for solidity of the model because I'm a clumsy fucker and it stops me breaking the doors off. But provided you're not me, it's perfectly... Again, I have Tourette's, seriously. I will twitch and drop models on the floor. It is a nightmare. Half my time is spent repainting models that I've already painted. But if you're not me, and you don't have Tourette's, or you're not a clumsy fucker, you can get away with leaving the doors open, or leaving the hatches with the guns just sitting here, so that if they get destroyed, you can remove them, or you can turn them, so that you can, if the thing gets destroyed, you can take those off, put little smoke markers in and things like that, so the hatch can open and close, so it looks like Space Marines are coming out. Just adds to the believability and suspension of disbelief when playing a game, which I think is really cool. I just don't do it myself because, as I say, I will break everything. Yep, you've got the majority of the rhino, so you can get started building it this week. As I say, my competition is going to be next week, so I can send the whole thing in one go rather than have half of it arrive and the other half get lost in the post. Because if I send it in 2 parts, I guarantee something weird like that will happen. But yeah, you've got all the bits there, all the bits how to glue there. Again, you can see there the back hatch, do not glue. The little flip up front bit, do not glue, so that you can have it flipping up. You can have it in various poses, and that is in and of itself pretty cool. And yep, as I suspected, here it's got the nice bit showing you what's coming next week. So we've got some bits here where you can mount a guy. You've got your, is it the Hellfire rocket launcher? Basically, unless it's massively changed, Chaos Rhinos get a standard crack grenade with limited range, and Imperial Rhinos get a one-shot hunter-killer standard crack missile launcher with standard range, whereas Imperial Rhinos get a one-shot crack missile, but it has infinite range across the table, so it can be used to alpha strike unpleasant guys. And you've got plenty of spikes, plenty of bits to stick on. Worth noting, you don't have to stick all of these on. As a matter of fact, if you stuck all of those on, the rhino would probably look a bit overloaded. So a lot of it can be kept till later and used later. You've got a Stormbolter there. For some reason, the Chaos Stormbolter has a bayonet. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work on the top of a rhino on a pintle. You're just going to charge the rhino in there and stab them with your bayonet. That's a bit mental. But you also have an alternative there with a flamer. So that's pretty cool as well. Having a flamer on top of a rhino is going to be quite cool. It's going to be fun for anti-infantry. It's showing all the ways you can set it up. You can have a guy with a flamer, you can have a flamer without a guy, you'll know I'm poking your setup, or you can have a flat case. I'm not sure why you wouldn't have the guy with the weapon. Oh no, tell a lie, the weapon actually joins onto the Stormbolter to create a combi bolter. So by the looks of it, you've got the option of a flamer with a Stormbolt with a bolter on the side, or a Stormbolter. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Don't have the Death Card Codex to check it out. My advice is always have the weapon on there, because that way, if it's on there, if you buy it, you know it's on there. You can always say, ignore that to the enemy, but for purposes of WYSIWYG, it looks a lot better with the weapon on there, rather than having no weapon and going, oh yeah, it's armed with a flamer. You know, you've got that option there. And it looks cooler if you've got a flamer on there and it's shooting, even if there's no one shooting in there. It's worth noting that in a lot of real world tanks, they did have particularly in some of the wacky World War II stuff, they had pintle mounted cannons on the roof, but they also had bits inside where they could, for a limited degree of shooting, control some of the pintle mounted cannons from the inside. There's a lot of wacky stuff. Yeah, you've got some Chaos shoulder pads there. It's the standard Chaos Runner kit, so you're not limited to Nurgle. You've got Khorne, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, and 2 generic Chaos Stars there. You've only got one Nurgle symbol, so I don't know if you want to stick it on the side or somewhere else. This is one of the first kits that's actually, to be honest, it's a multi-part kit. All the kits we've had so far have been single build models. This is a multi-part kit, so this is where you're going to get some cool stuff for your bits box. You don't have to add everything. You don't have to add all the hooks, all the spikes, any guns you don't use, any weapons or heads or Chaos Marine torsos you don't use can be kept later and used for other models. Which if you're new to GW, welcome to the joys of a bits box. You can use it to make your models unique and cool. And again, here you've got lots of alternate bits. Here and here showing you how to stick those to the Rhino and how stuff works there. So that's all pretty cool. And Chaos symbols and trophies. Yet even more stuff. Again, you don't have to stick it all to the Rhino. You can choose what you stick, what you don't. For those of you new, it's got little crosses through there to tell you which symbols not to stick on. As I pointed out, you've got symbols for all 4 Chaos Gods. If you've been collecting Death Guard, all your stuff is going to be Death Guard. Sticking Khorne on there or Tzeentch on there makes no sense, or Slaanesh. Particularly Tzeentch. The way the Chaos Pantheon works is it's an 8-pointed star. The 2 powers sort of next to each other can kind of ally to represent the points between them. And whilst any alliance is possible, the guys on the opposite points are the guys that hate each other. For example, Tzeentch is all about change and growth and shrinkage, whereas Nurgle is about just constant decay. It's always the same thing. It never ends. It never stops. It's grinding. It's depressing. You know, Nurgle is very much about a constant state of just predictable, never-ending decay. Everything dies. Everything rots. Everything ends. Whereas Tzeentch is like, everything dies, then it comes back, then it goes away, then it comes back, then it doesn't come back, then something changes. Then it dresses in pink, then it dresses in blue, then it does what it likes, then it doesn't do what it likes, then it does what somebody else likes. Which has led to the theory that the last thing Tzeentch is going to do is die and have Magnus kill him. You know, the theory is that Magnus is going to become the new god of change when the actual complete end times happen, and if the Emperor comes back, the Emperor will become a new god of chaos. Tzeentch will die at the hands of Magnus, and Magnus will be reborn as a new god of change. Khorne will probably not do anything, and Nurgle probably doesn't care. Yeah, there's lots of ideas. You know, Slaanesh will probably strangle wank himself to death, whatever Slaanesh does. And here we've got yet more cool stuff in the campaign setting, which is really nice. I haven't had a chance to play the campaign setting yet, mostly because I've just been working my WASP names off and I haven't had a chance to get very many games in recently. So yeah, you get more stuff again from the campaign setting. A lovely piece of artwork there, which if you want to cut out, you can. And some more stuff there. Worth noting, what you haven't got, or at least what I haven't seen, I'm just going to go back through and double check, is the rules for using a Rhino. I would suspect they're going to be in the next book. But yeah, you've got this sort of like generic stuff of what rhinos do, but you don't have the weapons, the movement, the standard sort of like degradation of effects as it gets damaged that you see in every other Imperial vehicle. Nope, definitely does not appear to be in here. So if you've got the Rhino, you won't be able to use it till next week. Not the worst thing in the world. You haven't got the bits till next week. But you've got 2 missions there to play with and keep having fun with what you've got. So not the end of the world. And next issue, you've got paint and complete your Death Guard Rhino. And then, we've got a sergeant. We've got a sergeant, we've got another aggressor and another hellblaster, and most importantly you've got a lieutenant. We've had a specific lieutenant previously. This is not lieutenant, captain. We've had a specific character lieutenant previously to lead our armies. This is a generic captain in Gravis armor. It's the same one you get in Dark Imperium. It's not a new model, but it is a cool model, and it is a model that will probably lead your units from now on. If you're going to be converting any model, it's that one. That's the model that basically is going to represent you on the battlefield. That's the one that's going to lead your troops into battle. That's going to be cool, going to be awesome. It's going to be effectively you on the battlefield. So that's a guy to look at and think, how can you convert him? How can you change him up? How can you equip him? I would imagine when he comes, it'll only have the rules for him equipped as he is. So if you do want to convert him, you might have to buy the Spaceman Codex, or at least borrow it off a friend to see how he works and what things primarily can be equipped with. They're quite limited at the moment, but in the standard Spaceman Codex rather, and even in the Space Wolf Codex, which is the one I usually use. But there is a lot of stuff in Chapter Approved. The Chapter Approved that came out before Christmas, that had a lot of stuff on making unique special characters and making you guys into special characters. So if you want to kit bash convert your this dude, your chapter captain, not even chapter. Sorry, your company captain. Then that's the way you want. Remember, that guy's in charge of 100 Marines, and there are 10 of him. Well, there are 9 of him and a chapter master in each chapter. Or are there 10 of him? Depends on the chapter. Some chapters you have 10 of him. Other chapters, like Space Wolves, where they've actually got 13 chapters, you'd have one for each not chapters, they've actually got 13 companies. You'd have one for each company, and then the chapter master would have his own company. So in some, you've got one for every company, and the chapter master is a supernumerary above that, and just takes over companies as he needs. Others, the chapter master has his own company, so you're sure one. So it depends on how you want to work it, really. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys had a lot of fun, or have a lot of fun opening it, just like I did. And as I say, stay tuned next week, where this and all the other extra bits that go with it will be getting given away. If you've got any opinions, let me know in the comments. If there's anything you think I should be doing that I've missed, let me know in the comments. And have a nice week, guys. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Not sure why, but I am. So if you like it, see me there, and please tell your friends. Thanks very much. Bye.